Present it to Toby. Did the stream just end? No, the stream is still going.
It turns out that this is very high-quality French machine oil.
Does that mean now we get to go to France?
It has a very particular scent, apparently.
You don't say. It's over with, then.
It froze for like 2 minutes. Oh, yeah, that probably, yeah.
You sure? I don't smell nothing.
No, we didn't mean that you should smell it.
Oh, right! You mean Toby?
Yeah, here we go. Trust me, it would have been a lot longer than 2 minutes if Perry had found me. His sense of smell is so good he can track people over the oceans, can't he?
Professor Hairbrain informs us that this oil is unique to Mr. Drebber's workshop.
I think he's picked up a scent.
So you mean if he follows the scent of this oil, Toby could lead us to that dodgy cub's workshop?
That's right, that's exactly what we were hoping.
The doggy is gonna take me to France. The Discord said what? Oh boy, did the stream end on your end, then? Okay. That's weird. Okay. Live announcements. Okay, I'm back, but the uptime restarted. Weird. That's really weird. We'll keep going, I guess.
Alright then, we'll give it a go. We'll give it a go. I'll just borrow that.
What? Wait, when did you... Once a pickpocket.
If I can lead everyone to that Drebber's workshop, I'll be the boss's boss before next week.
Oh yes, Gina, I'm sure you'll be promoted.
Poor Gregson.
Right then, Otto, leave it to me.
Sorry?
We're gonna get going after that dodgy engineer cove right this minute. Oh, but hang on. Someone's supposed to be on guard duty here all the time.
I'm afraid we can't help. We need to get on with our investigation as well, Gina. Froze, then jumped back forward some minute or two to keep missing bits. Oh, damn. Sorry, Fire.
Oh, right. Oh well, never mind. Ain't gonna be me what gets it in the neck. He'll be the boss.
Poor Gregson again.
Ready, Toby? Got that oil scent off you? Come on then, boy. See you later.
I do hope the scent of that oil leads them to that swindler's workshop.
Yes, I hope so too. Ideally before the dog swims across the channel to France. There we go. Okay. We need to go to the forensics lab now, huh? All right. October, forensics laboratory. I believe this is it. Dr. Scythe's laboratory. Dr. Scythe's laboratory. That chemical smell really assaults the nose. There's plenty to assault the eyes in here, too. Better dip, dip. It looks as though the doctor isn't here. But it's only a small swim.
But we're here now, so we may as well do some sightseeing, don't you think?
What a seasoned tourist you've become, Miss Susato. We could just have a little look around, being careful not to upset any restless souls. Time to look at everything.
I suppose this is Dr. Scythe's desk.
I would not like to work in a place like this.
It's very tidy, though, isn't it, Mr. Naruhodo? Imagine how efficiently she must work.
The lighting is poor, which is bad for the eyes, and the chemical smell can't be good for you. Not to mention the skeleton watching over you as you work, which is definitely bad for the nerves.
Well, yes, those are valid concerns, I suppose.
I can just about cope with a one-eyed Dharma doll watching over me, but that's all! Nothing particular of note. The skelly. Well, look at this! What a magnificent display case! The cherry wood has been polished to a high sheen, and the intricate carving is a joy to behold. Western cabinet makers really are very skilled, aren't they? Oh wow, the stream did die for a couple minutes.
Do you have nothing to say about the skeleton inside, Mr. Naruhodo?
Miss Susato, can't you tell that I'm trying very hard to avoid talking about the terrifying contents of the case? It's how I cope!
I'll be sure to remember that from now on.
Birds.
That looks like an owl and a crow up there.
I know, they haven't even twitched since we came in here.
Well, no, they wouldn't have. They're taxidermy mounts, Mr. Naruhodo.
I was afraid you were going to say that. I've been trying very hard to tell myself they're just sleeping with their eyes open.
Yes, I think perhaps you were wise to put something like your Dharma doll on display in the office instead.
Just like all other birds, they're not real. No. Double fake. Look at all the bottles on the shelves in these cabinets. What an assortment of chemicals.
These ones here are labeled highly toxic.
That's worrying, because there are also things that look like salt and pepper shakers in there.
Oh yes, and they actually say salt and pepper on them. The doctor probably spends a lot of time in this room, I suppose. Perhaps she has meals here sometimes.
Oh, that's a scary thought. Don't do that. Don't ever do that. Speaking from experience, do not do this. Life goes on, even when you're surrounded by death. Yeah, how is Scythe still alive? A table and a set of sharp tools. When you consider each in isolation, it all looks quite innocent. So why is it that when you put them side by side, they seem so horribly disturbing?
It might be best not to ponder it too deeply. Seeing the large tome that's open on the desk does make me wonder, though. How can anybody concentrate on bookwork with this acrid odor of chemicals in the air?
You'd either have to have a cast iron constitution, or a really terrible sense of smell. Drawers, bottles... More jars. Those large jars seem to have pale things floating around inside them. Are they brains? Are they organs? I suppose they're fruit liquors or something, or like the pickled umeboshi plums we make back home.
Father had jars like that in his laboratory as well. I expect they're human organs in a preserving solution, probably as examples of some rare medical condition.
Miss Susato, there are some things in this world that it's perfectly fine never to know about, ever. That looks like your vital organ collection. I didn't know you were into vital organ collecting too, Fire.
Oh!
So as I said, I'm sure they're fruit liquors or umeboshi, aren't they?
Of course.
Books, chest, chandelier, skull, lamp, chair, Microscope, bowl, books, book. Look at this big, thick book here.
Ah, it appears to be an accounting ledger. It's a record of the forensic investigation team's spending, I think. Oh?
What is it?
It's clear that the team purchases various equipment and supplies on a monthly basis, but, well, one entry seems rather strange.
Here's what we need to find. Really? In what way? They don't even have a Nintendo Wii with a copy of Wii Sports. Yep, no. Unfortunate.
They're buying 500 scalpels every month!
500?! They must be working really hard on dissecting corpses.
I don't know. Judicial autopsies are only carried out in certain special circumstances. And scalpel blades can be sharpened too.
For a man that's always in the same room as a murderer, he really can't handle the human body. No. Good point, Aram. It does seem a bit strange, you're right. 500 scalpels a month. What could they possibly be using all of them for? That's what we wanted to find, yep. What are you doing? What are you doing? Ah! Oh, you're here. Sorry, we had something we wanted to ask you, but you weren't here, so they're scalping the scalpels. Oh no. Well, time for blood samples.
So you thought you'd snoop around? That's acceptable to you people from the East, is it? Well, what do you want?
Lord Strongheart told us, you see, that it was you who examined the victim's body. Or Mr. Usman's body, I mean.
So we came to ask you about your findings. On Lord Strongheart's advice.
Very well. If the Lord Chief Justice has given his consent, I'll tell you what our investigation revealed. But when we're done, you must leave immediately. So, you want to know what the forensic investigation team determined from its examination of the scene? The victim, Mr. Odie Usman, who disappeared from the experimentation stage amid an explosion. And the Mr. Usman who appeared moments later partway up the Crystal Tower, were without question one and the same person. That is the team's conclusion.
That does not make sense. But that can't be right. But that can't be right.
If it was an elaborate trick, we can only speculate about how it was carried out. Let's see, if two people who looked very similar to each other were involved, they could have made it appear as if one single person had switched places, couldn't they? Very true, but sadly in this instance that was not the case. The man who disappeared and the man who subsequently reappeared was the same person. The fingerprints at the scene make that quite evident.
Ah, fingerprints.
They're not yet officially recognized as forensic evidence in the British justice system.
Oh, yeah, one of them was probably wax.
But one day they will be used as an investigative aid as a matter of course.
Ao who fused Chorus with a better-looking man.
Oh my, but that would mean that the instantaneous kinesis actually took place. So, where does that leave us?
Where were the fingerprints?
My team was tasked with investigating, not drawing conclusions.
Instantaneous kinesis is impossible, yet the body did move from one place to the other. This hasn't cleared anything up at all. It's made the whole thing even more of a mystery. Looks like we're done here. Ooh.
Mama, what is this?
Ah! Where did she spring from? And did she just call the doctor Mama?
This is a lawyer, dear.
Oh. Oh.
Hello. To meet you. Pleased to meet you. Two can have the same fingerprints. Yeah, that's fair. They can. Yes, I'm a defense lawyer. Ryunosuke Naruhodo.
Mama? Yes. Can I cut this one up?
What?
I've never seen inside an Eastern person before. I want to know what it looks like.
Of course you can't. It's a live specimen, as you can very well see.
Boring. Boring.
I think I just had a near-death experience.
Oh dear, Mr. Naruhodo, you're as pale as a corpse.
Let's leave before I'm mistaken for one. Yeah, you gotta kill him first. Well, I think we've done all the investigating we can here for now. If we could just determine the whereabouts of Mr. Drebber.
I'm sure Gina and little Toby won't let us down. Now then, do you think we ought to try to speak with Mr. Sholmes at this point? We have things to discuss, and I'm dying to meet him again after all these months.
Yes, it's quite possible he might know something useful, you're right. We ought to find him at Madame Tuspel's. He's supposed to be working there as a temporary waxwork exhibit.
Yes! Yes! Iris told me all about his latest unusual venture.
Just gonna check something. There she is. Okay, Courtney signed 39. Yeah, that makes sense. Excessively long name. Just listed as Bohemian Boy. Alright, move. Time to go to the wax museum. We finally found someone to take our blood samples. Yeah, that's a good point, Aura. She looks great for the job. 23rd October, Madame Tuspel's Museum of Waxworks.
Here we are again at the House of Horrors. I'm afraid I haven't got used to the place yet. I'd still like to turn on my heels and go straight home. Via the confectionery, of course.
Susato-san really is after something sweet today, isn't she? What's the matter?
Look, Mr. Naruhodo, look at that waxwork! I'm quite sure it wasn't there before.
It's Sholmes.
Looks exactly like Mr. Sholmes, down to the very last detail.
Aha!
What is it?
Oh, sorry, I think you'll find that's the temporary waxwork himself. We have made quite the list. Yes, sweets are nice.
Ah, the friend of my dedicated employee.
Oh yes, hello again. It's Ryunosuke Naruhodo. It's Ryunosuke Naruhodo.
I must say, I am quite spellbound by the great detective. He is a marvel.
Kick him.
My precious waxwork is already back where it belongs.
You don't mean...
But yes, the mystery is solved already.
Wow, Mr. Sholmes can really engage his brain when he's hungry enough.
So as you can see, he has returned to his habitual duties.
Yes. His
habitual duties?
Be funny if you kicked him to find he was actually wax. Imagine.
Allah, do not disturb, huh?
Poor Susato-san. She looks very perplexed. Ah yes, the heavy curtains in the middle of the House of Horrors. Whatever's on the other side of them, you just know it's going to be terrifying, don't you?
The sign says it's the Madame Tuspel's special exhibit. It seems you have to pay extra to go inside.
I know, can you believe that? Pay more money as if we haven't been scared enough already.
It's not my doing, Mr. Naruhodo.
Kick him? Yeah, let's kick him.
We really do need to speak with Mr. Sholmes, and I am longing to say hello again, but where is he?
Dojima-san. I think you might find that he's quite nearby, actually.
Oh, what do you...
Indeed, my dear fellows, it is I. Ah, no kick. The world-famous great detective and waxwork, Sherlock Sholmes. Susato-san! Susato-san! You know, I actually I can still kick him. Yeah, that's fair. I can still kick him. My most humble apologies. This actually reminds me of something that happened when I was a kid. There was this like kind of fun house set up at what we called the exhibition. Locally, it was like they set up all this farm stuff, and they set up all these. They set up a bit of theme park equipment as well, right? Amusement park stuff. One of those places was a big old fun house where you ran through, and like the floors were weird. There were funny mirrors, that sort of thing, right? Given what just happened, I should kick him. It's the morally correct thing to do. She's dead, Jim. She's dead. Yep. Well, Sholmes, you just killed a woman. A girl, even. She's only 16. Yep. The punishment is kick to shin. Glory to our Stotska. Now she is the waxwork. Yep. Alright, but yeah. I was in that fun house one time, and there was this and there was this something there was some girl standing at a back wall wearing glasses, and I thought that she was a prop, but as I was going by, the light kind of it looked like her eyes lit up. I think what happened was the light from outside was reflecting off her glasses. Underage murder, glory to Paper Station. Yep. But yeah, to me it looked as though her eyes lit up, and then she suddenly started moving and running. And I'm like, okay, what just happened? Did a mannequin just come to life? Right? That was a bit creepy. That stuck with me for a while. I was like, oh, that place is scary. Kind of cool, but kind of scary. My most humble apologies.
I thought I died and gone to eternal paradise for a moment via London.
My dear madam, allow me to make amends by offering you a tasty free deduction at some point. As long as it's not of questionable street food quality. Wait, when did you do that last time? Yeah, that's the word I was looking for, Red. Yes, I thought she was an animatronic that had just activated, come to life or something. I was like, yeah. That's right.
I don't understand. Why are you working as a waxwork here, Mr. Sholmes?
Merely a secret identity, you understand, though the case is largely solved now.
Largely solved?
We're talking about the waxwork abduction, I presume. Don't think it was shown through us the last time, but you know it must have happened at least 3 times at this point. Yeah, that's fair fire. Indeed we are, my good fellow. As I predicted, it was as easy as proverbial pie. Though I confess, I'm yet to partake of a pie, proverbial or otherwise, or any food so far today for that matter. That stomach rumble echoed around the whole museum. So how did you manage to solve it so quickly? Ah, well, do remember I said it was largely solved. Anyway, I simply negotiated with the culprit. Are you familiar with the so-called telephone?
Oh yes, it's a most modern invention allowing you to hold a conversation with people far away. In Japan, only the imperial capital and a handful of other cities are connected as yet.
This morning, a telephone call was received here from the perpetrator of the abduction. As such, I was able to negotiate terms, and in the end, the waxwork was returned. That's amazing! Just between you and I, it would appear the culprit had always intended to return the stolen waxwork in any event.
Oh, but I thought whoever was responsible demanded a ransom, no?
Yes, I think perhaps the ransom demand was necessary to avoid unwanted suspicion regarding the true motive.
But does that not mean
They didn't want money in the first place?
your negotiating was entirely unnecessary?
A fact that I must ask you to keep from Madame Tuspel's at all costs. A hungry young Iris awaits my return to Baker Street, after all. Poor Iris. Now then, do I sense that you have some business with this great waxwork? Yes. Enoch Drebber. We're in the process of trying to track somebody down. Oh?
Yes, a man by the name of Enoch Drebber. He's the swindler who duped Professor Hairbrain and the engineer who built the kinesis machine.
A swindler and an engineer. Quite the modern man. He also seems to be a conjurer of sorts, too, with considerable knowledge of stage magic. We really need to locate him before the trial resumes tomorrow morning. But we have so few clues to go on. That's the trouble. Do you have any good ideas? I have no data yet. It is a capital mistake to have good ideas before one has data. If I knew something of the man's appearance, at least, I may be in a better position to help. Yes, Drebber's appearance. Fortunately for you, however, presently I have little to occupy myself and little to fill my stomach. As soon as you find any clue, no matter how small, I should gladly give you my thoughts on it. Okay, we'll talk this and then we'll present it with the photo. Mr. Sholmes, did you lie to us? My dear Mr. Naruhodo, stay that piercing stare. What is this about?
Last winter, when we were first on our way to Britain aboard the steamship, your words were very clear.
So then, let us unravel this mystery and discover what events led to this curious murder.
You told us that it was murder, and you examined Kazuma-sama's body.
Indeed, and wherein lies the problem? We met him earlier today, the victim, Kazuma Asogi. You're quite sure?
He was wearing some sort of mask and was apparently suffering from amnesia. But yes, I'm quite sure. It was Kazuma-sama. You must have known at the time, Mr. Sholmes, that he wasn't actually dead.
Well, I can only assume I was swept up in the murderous atmosphere of the moment. He used an excite shroom and a smoke nut and Farcastered out of there. Yep. But the fellow wasn't dead at all. Priceless. I don't suppose that performance would pass muster, would it, Mr. Naruhodo? I could believe that the crewman present at the time made a mistake, but not you. But not you, Mr. Sholmes. I will now tell you something of the first importance, my dear fellow. That was also a wax figure. Great detectives are wont to lie. It will serve you well to remember that. Please, Mr. Sholmes. Tomorrow in court, you will find yourself on the threshold of a very great mystery. For now, I'm afraid that is all I can say. Yeah, he had to declare the guy dead to maintain the conspiracy, the masquerade. Anyway, this is the guy. Mr. Sholmes, would you cast your eyes over this photographic print? Kick him for that comment. Yep. Will do. Yeah, what else has he lied about?
It's of Mr. Enoch Drebber, the face of the engineer we seek.
No, that's a word. Great detectives are wont to lie. It means they are prone to lying. It's a different word, Fire. It's an archaic word, but it's a word.
Well, all Englishmen look broadly the same, of course. So looking at the photograph won't be particularly instructive.
Are you all right, Mr. Sholmes?
Ah, yes, forgive me. Very interesting, this. Very interesting indeed.
What's wrong, Mr. Sholmes? You've turned quite pale all of a sudden.
I have a suggestion, Mr. Naruhodo. Will you indulge me?
Oh, well, what is it?
As I explained to you when you arrived, the missing waxwork has been returned, and I personally reinstalled it in the exhibit from which it was taken, behind those thick curtains.
Oh, yes, the Professor exhibit, isn't it?
Would you like to see it? For a mere 5 shillings. That's a special one-time only price, you understand.
What?
The opportunity won't come again, I might add. Wouldn't you like to see the fruits of my labour?
Oh, well, we do have a rather pressing investigation to carry out. Perhaps we could postpone.
The price is very reasonable, 5 shillings. I think you'll find it's well worth it.
Sholmes, stop smoking. I know, right? This isn't... Shaggy, this isn't weed. Are you being quite serious, Mr. Sholmes?
Surely you need only look at my expression to ascertain if this is seriousness or silliness.
I can never tell with you. That's the point.
Very well, it couldn't hurt. Here's your 5 shillings.
Gratefully received. So, the special exhibit awaits behind the curtain. I invite you to peruse it at your leisure.
But it's the good mushrooms. I'm not too sure about that, Aurum.
Well, the money's been spent, so let's go and see the special exhibit.
Through those heavy curtains at last. Let's go. 5 shillings we've had to pay. Doesn't seem right somehow that Mr. Sholmes slipped the money into his own pocket, does it?
No. Ah! We can ask Gina to retrieve it for us, using her special skills.
Pickpocketing police officers and diddling detectives. Is this what makes Britain great? He's gonna die younger than older, like Susato's dad. Yep. Not to mention demigod prosecutors taking the law into their own hands, or chip-loving inspectors.
Inspector Gregson comes off rather well in that list, I think.
Yep. Well, in we go. 23rd October. Madame Tospel's special exhibit. Oh boy. It's missing the head.
Oh dear, I felt a shiver run down my spine as soon as we walked in here.
Miss Susato, I say we turn on our heels and go straight home via a really big confectionery.
We certainly can't do that. We've paid 5 shillings already.
True. Actually, now I'm looking a little more closely. You only just noticed the head's missing? We've paid good money to see an exhibit that's clearly incomplete. The nerve of the great diddling detective is far more terrifying than anything else in this place.
This must be what Mr. Sholmes meant when he said the case was largely solved.
Be that as it may, Mr. Sholmes heavily implied there'd be a clue about the engineer in here, didn't he? But where? Since we've paid 5 shillings, let's do 5 shillings worth of investigation, shall we?
Yes, we will get what we paid for.
Is that fear or frustration that's making Susato-san's voice tremble? This right here. This is the last of the achievement stuff.
This part of the exhibit is just as disturbing as the rest. It looks so real.
Seems to be a young man in a white overcoat.
And he has a large shovel in his hand, too, look.
Perhaps we should investigate in a little more detail.
What a large shovel. He's holding it rather ominously, isn't he? What on earth was the man doing with a shovel in a graveyard in the middle of the night?
Miss Susato. Yes? That's a spade, isn't it?
No, it's a shovel.
No, shovels are for digging. That's for scooping up loose material. It's a spade. No, I thought this was for digging. This looks like it's for digging.
We've been through this, Mr. Naruhodo. It's a shovel.
No. Although, we haven't considered trowels.
We've allowed ourselves to be distracted, I feel. Perhaps we should concentrate on what the man was doing with the implement.
So we're gonna bury the hatchet? You're right, though. What was the man doing in the graveyard in the first place? That's the real question. Just gonna make sure. Okay. Oh, it's not gonna show me. Alright. No, this is Patrick. Alright. What's this? And who is this? Can I see his face? Nope. That looks familiar. What's this here?
Well, this would appear to be a lens in the middle, so I believe it's probably a camera.
A camera? But it's so small. British technology is incredible, isn't it? I mean, what about Mr. Sholmes' skin prints? It's got a rounded end. It's for digging. Yep. It's a comically large spoon.
I think perhaps you should treat Mr. Sholmes' inventions as exceptions to the rule. But anyway, why would the man be in a graveyard at night with a camera?
I wonder. Perhaps he was trying to capture the moment a dead body came back as a ghost on film.
We'll just borrow this for a little while, I think.
The camera has been entered into the court record.
By looking at the photographic plate inside the camera, we can see what picture was taken.
What's a photographic plate?
It's a piece of glass coated in a special emulsion that reacts to the light coming in through the lens. If we open the cover at the back of the camera, we should find it. Let's have a look.
You should see yourself, Susato-san. Your eyes are shining. You really do like machinery, don't you? Anything else to see here? Court record. We'll look around everywhere else first. And also open the back of this thing. There we go.
What a wonderful machine!
You really love contraptions like this, don't you?
Oh yes, anything mechanical I find absolutely irresistible.
Bloodstain! Almost irresistible, surely.
Well, whenever I see a pocket watch, for example, I can't help myself. I simply have to take it apart.
That's worrying.
Yes, Father tells the time by the rumblings of his stomach now. He's given up having a watch.
Poor Professor Mikotoba. Bloodstain!
Look, Mr. Naruhodo.
What is it?
On the bellows just here. There seem to be some very dark red stains.
Someone spilt ketchup in the camera. Yes, you're right. Looks like blood, actually.
Oh my.
It's a market gardener. I'm sure it's not what you're thinking. Dark staining is visible on the bellows. Yep. Now let's take a look at the picture. Oh look, the cover came open.
Yes, now there should be a glass plate inside. You have to change the plate with each new photograph you want to take, you see.
It's missing. Something wrong?
There is no plate. It's been removed.
Ah, what a pity. But I suppose if you think about it, this wouldn't be the actual camera that was used at the time, just like the waxwork isn't the actual person. So we'd never have found a photographic print of the executed convict coming back to life anyway.
Oh, yes, you're quite right, of course.
Poor Susato-san. She looks devastated. So we've examined that. This is nothing else to see here. Okay. The important thing was the bloodstain. Okay. Body! But how did they get the real camera?
This must be the killer! The fiend known as the Professor!
Yes, I think so, according to what Madame Tuspel said. He killed 5 victims, all of noble or royal blood.
The waxwork is so lifelike, isn't it? Like all the models in this place.
I know. It looks like it could start moving at any moment, doesn't it? If only it had a head, that is. Perhaps we should examine it in a little more detail. The neck stump.
So this is the condemned man.
Yes, the so-called professor.
Then perhaps his head was chopped off by a guillotine. But unable to find peace, he emerged from his grave as a headless ghost.
Do we have to entertain such terrifying ideas, Miss Susato? Most of the professor, yep. Anyway, I'm sure the model had a head once. There's a metal fitting for it, see?
Then perhaps Mr. Sholmes absent-mindedly forgot to reattach it?
That's an extremely absent-minded detective you're describing, isn't it?
Or perhaps the thief absent-mindedly forgot to include the head when he or she returned it to the museum.
And that would be an extremely absent-minded thief. Could there have been some reason why only the head wasn't returned? Well, whatever the reason, it means we don't know what the face of the infamous professor looked like, do we? What the face of the infamous professor... I think it's gonna look familiar. Oh. There's something caught just inside the convict's jacket here. I don't see it. Oh. Yeah, wouldn't have seen that. It looks like a piece of broken glass. Quite a big piece, too. This is what was dropped. This right here is what was dropped on the tower. Yep. Whoever said it was a waxwork figure, it looks like you're right. This is the body that was dropped on the tower. And we don't have the head because it looks like Usman. Quite a big piece, too.
It's very thick, isn't it? About 5 times thicker than normal window glazing, I'd say.
Get the grave marker? Yeah, I was going to see if I could look at the back of it there. Where could such a thick piece of glass have come from, I wonder? The Crystal Tower.
I suppose it must have been made thick to increase its strength?
But why? Crystal Tower.
Well, perhaps because the glass had to span a particularly wide area, such as in a big building, for example.
Like the Crystal Tower? Well, we've seen a large glass building recently, haven't we? And some of the glass was broken, too.
You don't mean...
Exactly. The Crystal Tower at the Great Exhibition.
But why would glass from the Crystal Tower be lodged inside this waxwork's jacket?
Because this waxwork was dropped on it. It makes you think, doesn't it? The piece of broken glass has been entered into the court records. Small fragment of very unusual and thick glass that was found in the folds of the clothing of the Professor Waxwork. It would appear to be from the Crystal Tower. Earlier in court, we established that the kinesis experiment was a trick. And now we discover this fragment of glass here in this waxwork. Is it just a coincidence? Nope, this was used as a prop for the trick. 139. Examined that already. Is there anything else to examine here? 139. I'm not seeing any other examination spots. And I can't move the camera. What else can we find in here? This part of the exhibit... Okay, we've seen this. Can we examine the lantern? Evidently, yes. That's quite a large lamp the man's carrying. Or is it a lantern? It's not unlike a Japanese Chochin paper lantern, actually, is it? Owl. I tried the owl. It didn't light up.
Lamp, lantern, Chochin. The point is it casts very little light. To be walking alone in a graveyard at night with only this... Well, I certainly couldn't do it.
I'm not sure I could visit a graveyard at all, even in broad daylight, to be honest. Okay. Is there anything else of note about this guy? The face. I can't see his face very well, can you? Perhaps if I just...
Oh! Do you think you should be manhandling the exhibits, Mr. Naruhodo?
I'll put it back exactly as it was, don't worry. Oh, here we go.
What on earth? How can...
I don't believe it! A black monocle!
Mr. Naruhodo, is it possible that this man is...
Drebber? Yes. That's what I thought, yeah. It's Sephiroth! I mean, Enoch Drebber!
The color of his hair is different, but...
It's unmistakably him! Indeed it is. Oh, no, it's him.
Indeed it is. Mr. Sholmes, this man is the subject of your present hunt, I believe.
Yes, that's right. Just who is this man? Why is he here in this exhibit? And why does the convict behind him have no head? Isn't it in front of him?
The head was missing when the model was returned by the thief who stole it.
What a surprise.
So then the case isn't yet solved, is it?
Did I not say so myself? Largely solved were my words, I believe. But I must locate the missing head, tout de suite, as Madame would say, or I'll be in grave trouble. A very hungry Iris still awaits my return to Baker Street, preferably with rations.
Ah!
Do you know, though? Something about this room is strange.
Strange? What do you mean?
Well, the displays in the House of Horrors are supposed to depict real events, are they not?
Mr. Sholmes, that was a pretty nice engineer from the hit Valve game Team Fortress 2 impression. Yep.
Indeed they are, Miss Susato. Do go on.
And as terrifying as they are, the scenes in the other exhibits are believable. But this one... This surely couldn't ever really have happened, could it?
I think it's time I educated you a little about the nature of the incidents involving the Professor 10 years ago. I believe I told you a little about the Professor yesterday, did I not? He took the lives of 5 victims, every one being either a member of the aristocracy or royalty. All were attacked by an enormous hunting hound and had their throats ripped from their bodies.
The Hound of the Baskervilles?
Oh gosh, an enormous hound! How awful!
After taking the life of his 5th victim, the killer was apprehended.
What, a person climbing out of the grave? You thought that was normal? It happens here all the time. Sure, fire. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me from you, honestly.
It was a case of unprecedented magnitude in Britain, you understand. Accordingly, the Professor was tried in a closed court. No members of the public were permitted.
A closed court? So you mean the Professor's identity...
As you've surmised, my dear fellow, his identity was never made public. Naturally, he was found guilty and was summarily sentenced to death by hanging. He was buried in a grave at Lowgate Cemetery, which adjoins the rear of the prison where he had been held.
Oh no, is Drebber the Professor?
However, that was not the end of the affair.
Oh!
The very night that he was buried, the convicted man came back to life.
Came back to life?!
He clawed his way out of the ground and emerged into the moonlit graveyard. The exhibit here depicts that very scene as described by the sole witness to those chilling events.
Was the head switched? Possibly the hair dyed?
The exhibit here depicts that very scene as described by the sole witness to those chilling events.
There was a witness?
But of course, my dear fellow, it was none other than the young man in the white overcoat. Enoch Drebber.
He saw it happen? So this is a waxwork model of Enoch Drebber. 10 years ago, the convicted professor, having been gibbeted and buried, emerged from his grave in the dead of night. The sole witness to that unimaginable scene was this young man. From appearances, I would say he was about 20 years old. Did he climb out of the grave without his head? No. He climbed out of the grave with his head, but the ransom guy still has the head, presumably. Either that, or this is the head that belongs on that body, and the head of this one is what's missing.
It's so horrifying.
But then, because Sholmes knows all this, no, this is the right head for the figure, I think. Scared out of his wits, the young Drebber ran to a nearby police station to report the incident. And the sheer terror of what he'd seen is said to have turned his hair white overnight. Yes, as shown in the photograph we have of him, his hair is completely white. For the following few days, the story of what he'd seen was on every front page in the capital. How long has he been bleaching his hair? The public was frantic for every last detail about the killer who'd come back to life. In the actual... yeah, that's what I mean. Yes, he had his head when he climbed out of the grave in reality. Supposedly. The public was frantic for every last detail about the killer who'd come back to life. As you've seen, an exhibit was even created here at Madame Tuspel's.
I can quite understand why the man's hair turned white, certainly. But what I don't understand is what Mr. Drebber was doing in the first place. In a lonely graveyard in the middle of the night.
Hang on a sec. Okay, where were we?
Is what Mr. Drebber was doing in the first place in a lonely graveyard in the middle of the night.
Yeah, no, this whole thing was stage 2, I think. Yes, what was he up to? This was all a trick too. The professor's acts of terror threw London's upper classes into complete panic 10 years ago. It was a great scandal, one might say, at the very highest levels of society. And since the killer's identity was never made public, rumors abounded. After all, no killer had ever before systemically employed a dog as a weapon of murder. Yes, I can imagine the impact the case must have had. But in time, of course, the rumors abated. So too did talk of the shocking witness account of the convict who came back to life. It was forgotten, dismissed as a dubious ghost story, as a preposterous parlor tale.
But why did people stop believing it?
Why, simply because there was no resurrection to speak of, as was established in fact. What do you mean by no resurrection? The police investigated the grave in Lowgate Cemetery and published their findings. The convict's body was found to be buried exactly where it had been following the execution.
No! But that would mean Mr. Drebber must have lied to the police and the newspapers.
That would appear to be the only logical explanation, yes. The young man subsequently vanished from society and nothing has been heard of him since. It's rather striking, then, that he should resurface now, don't you think? Of course, the convicted murderer couldn't really have come back to life, that's not possible. But Drebber's hair is unusually white, and if that really did happen overnight as a result of shock, it's hard to believe the incident was an out-and-out lie.
Ah! What the bleeding Lord? What have you gone and done?
Gina, what are you doing here?
I asked Iris, and she said this is where you'd be, so... Gina, not allowed in the museum!
Madame Tuspels will have you take a position as a waxwork if you're not careful. I think there might be a more pressing concern.
I still had some flash powder left from 6 months ago, so...
All right, Gina, we understand, but please, put down the gun! Sorry, I got scared.
You should try being the one on the other end of the barrel. So, what brings you here? What brings you here, Gina?
What brings me here? What do you think? We found it! We found the Dolce Cav's workshop!
What? You found Drebber's workshop?
Yup! Debbie's nose took me straight there! Boss and the others are heading over there now in a drag, so come on! Here's the address. I got the boss to write it out. Oh, thank you, Gina. We'll make our way there at once. All right, then. See you there.
Hugo, don't mind me. I'll just stay here, being still. What? I know my place, in the exhibit over there.
Oh dear, someone is feeling sorry for himself.
I know my place, in the exhibit over there. Let's go, Mr. Sholmes, you're coming! Your words hearten me, I must say, but if I were to shirk my duties here, Madame would have me pay monetary recompense, and Iris's dinner plate would be empty once more. Forget that! I'll pay for everything! Then there's not a moment to lose, my dear fellow. I shall hail a carriage at once. His eyes are gone. Oh, they're back. No offer to share the cost from Mr. Sholmes, then.
I shall gladly pay half, Mr. Naruhodo.
Thank you, Mrs. Sato. Right, let's go. (23rd October), Enoch Drebber's workshop. I'm hoping this is the end of the investigation, and I wanted to end it at the end of the investigation day, but it seems dinner's here, so I will have to take a break here. Let's see. Where's the BRB thing? There it is. All right. Yeah. Like I say, I'll get that into me real quick and be right back. Alright, I'm back. Let's finish this up. Let's see. Here we go. It was spicy barbecue burgers. It was good. Alright. That looks like...
Oh, it's another super high voltage instantaneous kinesis machine.
Indeed it would appear so, though only a prototype, naturally.
Ah, so you got here then. Gina, well done for finding this place. In such little time. You've really worked miracles. Stabby here was the miracle worker.
Uh-oh, what happened? What happened here? Ah, I thought you lot would show up before long. Hello, Inspector. That's one knitted brow. He looks like he's eating a lemon, not a bag of fish and chips.
So, Inspector, is there any sign of the engineer?
Sadly not. We didn't find a soul in here.
Oh, what a shame.
Well, thank you for letting us know about this place and giving us the chance to investigate. According to what Gina tells me, we only found it thanks to a clue that you lot turned up. I wouldn't want to say, go to Paris with a debt of gratitude unpaid now, would I? Thank you. Anyway, if you happen to snoop around in here, I'll get cracking. Lord Van Zeeks and the forensic investigation team are on the way here as we speak. Them again. I imagine you've got the picture by now. They don't take too kindly to lawyer types. Right. Especially not Japanese ones. So then, my dear fellow, let's turn this place upside down whilst we have the chance. And you, Sholmes. Pardon? They take even less kindly to great detectives than they do to lawyers. Very droll, Gregson, very droll. But you may consider me nothing more than an inconspicuous waxwork model. Right then, let's see what we can find in here. What's this? This is... It's a European-style quiver of arrows with steel bolts inside. Crossbow ammo?
Oh, do you suppose...
Crossbow bolts, these. Just the right size for the bow you lot turned up at the exhibition grounds. In other words... Yep, that's more evidence to support your theory. It all goes to show that Drebber was the one pulling the strings behind the scenes of the whole scam. Belongs to Mr. Enoch Drebber. Yep. This.
I'm sorry, Mr. Naruhodo. That machine is covered by the Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act. There would be serious repercussions if you were to examine it from the Crown and the government. From the Crown and the government.
Well, those two don't seem to be holding back. It's quite hollow inside. No working parts or devices of deception to be seen, my dear fellow.
No, there's change dropped on the floor. Nothing. Not even bound to Toby here, my dear fella. My dear fella. British people are very much ruled by their own ideals, aren't they?
I think that's just these two, Mr. Sato. What's back here? This door doesn't want to open.
Yeah, looks like it's got a pretty hefty lock on it.
Specialist locksmith on his way over from the yards. Hands off till he gets here. With permission, Inspector. I could have that lock open in less than a minute. Well, you don't have permission. No one's giving it to you, and no one's giving it to you. Grayson looked as though he really enjoyed that.
Well, there's no sound of anybody on the other side.
No, Drebber must have fled at the first sight of danger. What on earth is this?
An aeroplane, Mr. Naruhodo. One day, scientists believe it will allow humans to fly freely in the skies.
Is that how the trick will be described, is it?
Sorry?
Well, it's actually suspended by a thin but very strong cable, isn't it?
Oh, well, this model is, yes, but a real aeroplane would actually fly high in the sky.
While suspended from somewhere even higher in the sky, of course. Because large metal objects obviously can't really stay in midair unsupported.
So to you, the solution is ever taller towers?
Planes aren't real.
Ah, this appears to be most interesting. Yes, most interesting indeed, wouldn't you say?
It's an impressive-looking back massager, that's for sure. I've no doubt that if you hit your shoulders a few times with that, your aches and pains would soon go away.
It's a Royal Society trophy for excellence in science. A young scientist could wish for no higher honor.
Ah.
Would you like a massage?
No, I'm fine, thank you.
I had no idea it was such a grand thing.
I mean, it is very obviously a trophy.
I think it's becoming increasingly clear that there's much more to this Mr. Enoch Drebber than conjuring tricks.
I couldn't agree more, my dear madam. My dear madam. How about you, Mr. Naruhodo? Wouldn't you like to take it with you? For your tired shoulders, of course.
He's not gonna let that go, is he?
It's curious, though, isn't it?
Suspended by a strong string, just like real airplanes.
You would expect such an important trophy to be proudly on display somewhere, not haphazardly cast aside. English gentlemen can be quite a mystery at times.
The science trophy has been entered into the court record. Uh-oh.
Oh!
Something wrong, Mr. Sato?
Well, I thought I heard a noise. From the far side of that door. Well, Gina, did you hear it too?
Yeah, I heard it and all. What do you reckon, Tabby? Right, mind the grease. Whoever's in there, open up! This is Scotland Yard!
That's the sound of a sound.
Oh my, someone is in there!
Ah! This rotten bleeding lock! My dear Gregson, as I said only minutes ago, if only it were countenanced, I could unlock that door in less than a minute. Fine, I'll take the rap for it. Just get us through that blasted door! Oh, bye!
Yep.
There, you may enter at will. You've confused minutes with seconds, I think. Time is of the essence, I feel. What are we waiting for? Nothing for it, I suppose. This is an emergency. There's a strong possibility that beyond that door is the engineer you all seek. Be prepared for action, my dear fellow. Yes! That a bomb? What? What's happened in here? Why is everything upside down? Rats! There ain't no one in here after all.
But there must be. It was only moments ago that we heard those noises.
Maybe that was the sound of Drebber running away.
But there's only one door into this room.
There's a window. Careful, the engineer usually carries a shotgun and can build sentry guns. Yep.
And no windows that could afford an escape route.
What about these ones?
Those skylights are too high.
Clearly not. It's been Australia'd. Yep.
What's that up there? Are they footprints on the ceiling? Blow me! What have we here then?
There is a bomb on the floor.
Looks like someone was trying to burn something in a hurry.
Oh, that looks like a set of blueprints.
To what? Is that Professor Hairbrain's bombing machine, is it? Blimey! If we'd had these, there'd have been no need to muck about trying to investigate all that scrap metal!
The engineer can also build teleporters. Yep, That's where we've been going with this.
There is something of great interest here, too. This rope was lying on the floor at the foot of that pillar.
A rope? What's significant about that?
Never mind.
It means he did rappel through the window. Like how everyone just totally ignored the bomb.
You see, but you do not observe, Mr. Naruhodo. We must investigate the entire room thoroughly, and before the forensic investigation team arrive, too.
Examine the bomb! Mr. Sholmes, have you found something?
Ah, Mr. Naruhodo, yes, in point of fact, something rather fascinating. What do you make of this?
Let's see. I've never seen anything like it before. Looks like a bundle of thick cigars wrapped up in a large watch to me, but... Ah! Miss Susato, what's the matter?
That's a... Surely that's a time bomb, isn't it?
What? Did you say...
A time bomb?
Sorry, but what is a time bomb exactly? Really? Really? Ah! You truly are one of a kind, Mr. Naruhodo. I won't take that as a compliment.
You don't know nothing, do you, Ardo?
You haven't got a clue what it is either, have you, Gina?
I invite you to consult a dictionary later, Mr. Naruhodo. But this particular specimen is no time bomb, though I confess it has a very similar appearance. Oh, well, thank goodness. But then, what is it?
Sorry. Nice job, Inspector. You totally missed the giant bomb sitting in the middle of the room. Yep.
I see. So that's it. Goodness, Mr. Sholmes, have you seen to the heart of the matter? There are times when I consider my lot most unfair, for I'm fated never to know how it feels to flounder as you do when a puzzle presents itself.
I know someone who's like this. And I really wish she would stop being like this. On learning there is a bomb in the middle of the room, they keep roasting Ryu, man. Yep.
But I have learned to accept the hardships that come with being a great detective, Miss Susato.
Here we go. I feel a great deduction coming.
Once again, I can draw two conclusions from the scene we see before us. The first is that the inverted nature of the furniture in this room is the work of Drebber himself. Oh, but how could you... And the second conclusion is that the small device on the floor there is without question completely genuine. Please, Mr. Sholmes, you must explain everything. It would be a pleasure. After all, it is a great detective's civic duty to teach Scotland Yard the finer points of the trade.
You think you missed a line? No, this is jumping around a fair bit. Well, Inspector Gregson seems delighted with the idea anyway.
Oh, you deflected the inspector's glare with such fortitude there, Mr. Sholmes. Well done. You're too kind, my dear madam. I hereby dedicate this great deduction to you. Kindly stand just there, Miss Susato. Oh, yes. I'd be delighted. So, shall we begin?
Another logic and reasoning spectacular.
Once again, Herlock Sholmes is proud to present his logic and reasoning spectacular.
Yeah, first he says it's not a bomb, and then he says it's genuine. Yeah, I'm confused.
Topic 1. Flipped furniture. It's plain to see that this room is in complete disarray. The bed, the table and chairs, the lamp, everything is upside down. Almost as if every item in the room had until recently been happily positioned on the ceiling, before falling straight down onto the floor. Every item in the room was on the ceiling. Are you suggesting that...
this was supposed to be an exhibit.
Indeed, the key here is gravity.
Oh wow, look at look at what he can do.
It would appear the technology has at last succeeded in freeing us from the great pull of the Earth. For the gravity in this room was reversed and then suddenly restored to normality.
There's a safe code over here. Has nobody noticed that?
Goodness! The inverted furniture clearly reveals the truth about the part gravity played in this whole business.
No, it doesn't.
I quite understand your skepticism, Mr. Sato. I too was incredulous at first. However, my conviction in my analysis was cemented when I observed this. An anti-gravity device, almost identical to one that featured in a dream of mine only the other day, in fact.
Oh, that's it. Okay, he thinks this is an anti-gravity device.
But then why does it have a clock on it? A most relevant question indeed. That is a timing device that controls when the gravity direction will switch. There was clearly a requirement for the engineer to be able to restore normal gravity automatically. And the commotion we heard earlier from the other side of the door was the moment that restoration occurred. Yes, the reason why everything in here has been turned upside down is because of the anti-gravity device. So you see, we need look no further to explain the state in which we now find this room.
Where's Iris when you need her to shut all this down?
The direction in which gravity acts in here was reversed by Mr. Drebber, before being restored to normality in an automatic fashion sometime later by the timer device. I have witnessed precisely this scene in a dream I once had when I fell out of bed.
I'll admit I've had that dream before too. Conclusion, because gravity was reversed. But that's ridiculous. Topic 2, missing engineer.
Now, let us consider the next conundrum. What was our engineer friend's aim?
Sorry.
Indubitably, the greatest clue we have to explain his actions is above our heads. Yes, how is it possible that there are footprints all the way up there on the ceiling? A question whose answer will lead us neatly to the truth, my dear madam.
Wait, that was... Hang on. Oh no, that was Susato's line.
Yes, how is it possible that there are footprints all the way up there on the ceiling? A question whose answer will lead us neatly to the truth, my dear madam.
I missed that, sorry.
The reason there are footprints on the ceiling is because of the nearby skylight. Of course, Drebber's aim was singular, to escape. However, there is but one way into this room, excepting the skylight, that is.
He used the rope to rappel out, didn't he?
By inverting the gravity in here, Drebber was able to fall conveniently to the ceiling.
Then wouldn't he just fall into the sky?
And make his escape via the otherwise inaccessible skylight, leaving those footprints behind on the way.
Those footprints are not pointing toward the skylight.
But the ceiling in here is very high, Mr. Sholmes. If the gravity reversal was sudden, wouldn't Mr. Drebber have fallen up to the ceiling rather violently? Falling up is both scientifically and philosophically a rather interesting concept, I feel. But the man was cornered with nowhere to run, so escape to the skylight was his only option. You may recall that I found this in the room earlier, which I believe offers a solution.
That he rappelled out.
Oh, the rope! To reach the intended destination, what better tool than this rope?
Oh, it wasn't the rope?
By anchoring one end to the wall, the man was able to lower himself safely to the ceiling. Which explains how Drebber was able to escape this room before our arrival.
Imagine the bomb detonating during the deduction spectacular.
He reversed the pull of gravity and fled via the skylight. And personally, I should very much like to reverse the pull of gravity again now, just for fun.
Oh no, he's gonna set off the bomb. Escape via the skylight.
Thus concludes Sherlock Holmes' great deduction of this topsy-turvy puzzle.
She's completely spellbound.
Mr. Sholmes, there is just one thing that troubles me. I would expect nothing less. You're destined to be troubled by just one thing for the rest of your life.
The thing is such a thing actually possible? An anti-gravity device, I mean?
I would say that with man's current scientific knowledge at the turn of the 20th century,
it's no more possible than instantaneous kinesis.
But your whole deduction hinges on it! Ah, but my dear fellow, when you have eliminated the impossible, whatever remains must be the truth. However improbable it may seem. It's a marvelous line, wouldn't you agree? One of my more enduring pearls of wisdom. I had Iris come up with the exact phrasing. My original was, clumsy.
Yes, I have a feeling I've read it in something that Miss Susato lent me once.
Actually, there is one other thing, Mr. Sholmes.
Ah, the spell's broken at last.
The rope you found was on the floor, wasn't it?
Indeed it was, in lonely coils near the wall.
But if Mr. Drebber had used it to escape in the way you described, wouldn't it still be tied to the wall?
Mysteries inevitably unravel in the end, as I think you'll find do ropes. As evidence of such, you need only look at the mystery we faced in this room, now skillfully unraveled.
That argument is as circular as the coils of rope.
I think perhaps we might need to give Mr. Sholmes the usual little helping hand. I'm sure with some minor corrections, the great detective's great deduction will lead us to the truth.
Yes, you're right. And we must do it quickly before Enoch Drebber gets too far away.
If you're ready, then let us resume. Sherlock Sholmes' logic and reasoning spectacular.
Course correction. Hold it, Mr. Sholmes. Topic 1. Flip furniture. Alright, let's go through this again.
It's plain to see that this room is in complete disarray. The bed, the table and chairs, the lamp, everything is upside down. Almost as if every item in the room had until recently been happily positioned on the ceiling, before falling straight down onto the floor.
Every item in the room was on the ceiling? Are you suggesting that...
Indeed, the key here is gravity. It would appear the technology has at last succeeded in freeing us from the great pull of the Earth.
That was what it said, right?
Yes, from the great pull of the Earth. For the gravity in this room was reversed and then suddenly restored to normality.
Goodness!
The inverted furniture clearly reveals the truth about the part gravity played in this whole business.
No, there's something else.
To think gravity could have been reversed in this very room, I find the whole idea utterly enthralling. Only Mr. Sholmes could conceive of such an explanation.
But the man himself admitted it was a scientific impossibility, so...
Yes, you're quite right. We must completely discount the idea at once.
Oh, that's unusually merciless of you, Mr. Sato.
When you have eliminated the impossible, whatever remains must be the truth. The great detective himself said so, didn't he?
While refusing to part with his dreams of anti-gravity devices.
Yes, I suppose so.
Well, let's see if examining this topsy-turvy scene a little more closely reveals some proof that shows exactly what the gravity in this room was or wasn't doing. What here breaks the laws of Sholmesian gravity theory? Oh. Yeah, but this is bolted down.
Ah, look, Mr. Sato. When everything seems to be upside down in here, this safe is conspicuously the right way up. Have you noticed?
Yes, that's true. But look more closely at the safe's feet.
Ah, that's a lot of very large bolts fixing it to the floor. Think before you speak, that's what you wanted to say, isn't it? I really put my foot in my mouth there.
I certainly didn't say that.
The upright vase. Yeah, this would do it. The safe looks not Australian. You blame Newton for this. Well, I wasn't expecting to find a pretty bunch of flowers in here, that's for sure.
Ah, look at that!
I know, that slender little vase looks like it's about to topple at any moment, but the flowers are thriving. Somehow it makes you think of the fragility of life, wouldn't you say?
To be honest, Mr. Naruhodo, something else about it made a rather deep impression on me.
Take that!
if the gravity had flipped, this would be shattered. The upright vase clearly reveals the truth about the part gravity played in this whole business. Upon my word, Mr. Naruhodo, you surpassed yourself by completely turning my argument on its head. Trying to impress your assistant here, perhaps? No one is trying to steal your spotlight here, Mr. Sholmes, trust me. As you rightly say, though it appears at first glance that all the furniture in the room is upside down. This unassuming slender vase is standing keenly to attention. And unlike the large safe, there is nothing affixing it to the floor. And it's the exception that breaks the rule. In short, much as it pains me, the gravity in this room was never inverted at all! My deepest sympathies for your loss.
Oh, poor Mr. Sholmes.
But the show must go on, so let us continue with our deductions. Now that we know this contrivance is not in fact an anti-gravity device, there remains but one other possibility. You don't say. Someone deliberately turned over every piece of furniture in here. Which might sound obvious, but leaves one mystery very much unsolved. Namely, why would anyone choose to do that? Quite, and naturally there is an explanation. Yes, the reason why everything in here has been turned upside down is because of the anti-gravity device. But we just said it's not the anti-gravity device. Because it's not an anti-gravity device. Oh, okay, Newton wins again. Yep. He's absolutely determined that this device must have something to do with it, isn't he?
I'm afraid the lure of an exciting scientific explanation is too strong.
Well, there's no doubt that somebody did this. Somebody turned all this furniture over. So whoever it was must have had a reason. The safe code.
I'm afraid nothing comes to mind at all, though.
Well, let's look around and see if the answer presents itself. The safe code! Look, there's something written on the underside of this armchair.
Oh yes, safe 432582.
Safe? As in safe and secure?
As in secure lockable box, I think.
Admittedly more likely.
Well, there is a large safe bolted to the room on the other side of the room, so yes.
So you mean this number would let us open it?
I wonder why it's written here, though.
Take that!
Yes, the reason why everything in here has been turned upside down is because of the safe combination. Precisely. I believe, Mr. Naruhodo, that you had a very similar experience once, did you not? Yes, last year, when I bought a lottery ticket and noted the ticket number down on the inside cover of a book, just in case. That's it. For people are forgetful souls at heart and always make a written note of important information.
Just keeping the ticket itself safe would be more sensible, I think.
And what, pray, happened next, Mr. Naruhodo? When the day of the draw came around, I'd forgotten which book I'd written the number in and had to turn my room upside down to find it. That's it! For people are forgetful souls at heart and always forget where they've noted things down.
Not if you always note things in the same place.
I actually won the second prize, you know. But I couldn't remember which magazine I'd slipped the ticket into, so I had to turn my room upside... Thank you, Mr. Naruhodo, but I believe I've proved my point now. Which is that a very similar scenario has clearly unfolded in this room. Finding himself requiring access to the safe, the occupant of this room needed the combination code. In conclusion, this bomb is very much real and we should leave the vicinity with haste. He remembered that he'd written it on the underside of a piece of furniture, but forgot which one, leading to the state in which we now find the room. Yes, Mr. Drebber overturned all the furniture in here in a desperate hurry to locate the combination code that would unlock the safe. To find the safe combination. Yep, solved. Oh no, don't tell me he locked himself inside. Now, let us consider the next conundrum. What was our engineer friend's aim? Indubitably, the greatest clue we have to explain his actions is above our heads.
Yes, how is it possible there are footprints all the way up there on the ceiling?
A question whose answer would lead us neatly to the truth, my dear madam. reason there are footprints on the ceiling is because of the nearby skylight. Nope.
Well, if a change in the direction of gravity can't explain it, then how did those footprints get there?
Yes, I feel as though that particular mystery has just become even harder to solve.
I can't think of any other way to explain it at all. Oh, life was so much simpler in those halcyon days when gravity could be reversed.
It was minutes ago, and those halcyon days never existed in the first place.
Well, I suppose we must simply put our faith in Mr. Sholmes and observe the area in more detail.
Putting our faith in Mr. Sholmes is what gets us into these situations in the first place. Well, that was easy. Shoe. It's hard to believe, but there's a shoe up there, look! I remember this is how they do it in typical upside-down room tricks as well. They, like, get a long pole or something and put a shoe on the end of it and use that to make the footprints.
Oh yes, and there are more footprints on this little balloon, too. Perhaps the shoe was thrown up there and became lodged, do you think?
If so, then judging from the number of footprints, it must have been thrown up several times. Why would anyone be throwing shoes up the ceiling, though?
Oh dear, that's beyond me, I'm afraid.
Take that!
Well, we can get started by saying it's because that shoe was being thrown at the ceiling. The reason there are footprints on the ceiling is because of the nearby shoe. And on closer inspection, there are clearly footprints all over the balloon as well. In other words, the aim was never the skylight at all, but the balloon. But for what purpose? A green balloon. That seems somewhat familiar data. It's the same color as the balloon that got shot in the sky.
Ah! It was a piece of a green balloon's envelope. It was a piece of a green balloon's envelope that Mr. Naruhodo and Iris found at the scene.
And inside the green balloon that Master Gotts claims he saw above the stage when the incident occurred was the second birdcage, the crux of the whole instantaneous kinesis deception.
You mean to say?
If we assume the balloon in here is a model of the one used on the day, there is a strong possibility something may be concealed inside it. Something our absconder was desperate to retrieve before making a hasty getaway. But the balloon's out of reach! Hence why he resorted to a projectile, namely the shoe. Ah! Most probably, Drebber intended to tear a hole in the envelope by assailing it with the shoe. Why didn't he just stand on a piece of furniture and pull it down by the basket? However, his efforts were thwarted when the shoe itself became a prisoner of those lofty heights.
Oh dear, we desperately need to examine that balloon. If only there was some way we could see inside.
You may recall that I found this in the room earlier, which I believe offers a solution.
Oh, the rope!
To reach the intended destination, what better tool than this rope? There's probably something better in here to use.
Mr. Sholmes has managed to bring the deduction back to the rope.
Alright, I have to admit, that was clever. So we just throw the rope up to the balloon and then pull it down to us on the ground?
Which is much easier said than done, I feel. And could take us a very long time as well.
True. Perhaps we need a more surefire method. In fact, we already have one, of course, don't we? We still have the crossbow!
Take that!
What better tool than this crossbow? To reach the intended destination, what better tool than this crossbow?
That was found at the scene, in fact.
And in all likelihood belongs to Mr. Drebber. If the man had only brought it away with him that day, he could have avoided losing a shoe at such a critical time as this. Take a blood sample from the balloon. Yep, that's what we're doing. So, shall we? Your curiosity is deeply stirred, no doubt, my dear fellows. What is it that Enoch Drebber has hidden inside that balloon? Ah! What the? Mannequin head? Oh, it's the wax figure! Oh, so the ransomer was Drebber. Yes! A waxwork?
Indeed it is, a waxwork head inside a metal mask. A mask that is shut tight and fastened with a strong and quite impenetrable lock.
So we can't see the face inside, that means.
Just a moment, this is the head of a waxwork model? Does that mean... Oh goodness!
I see you've joined the dots, Miss Rosato. Excellent. Ah, of course, a headless waxwork model. The case of the abducted Madame Tuspel's model that you'd largely solved.
Yep, unlocked the hat.
It was only the head of the killer that was still missing. Indeed it was. But I believe Madame Tuspels will now have to settle her sizable account with me. This, as you have now surmised, is the head of the infamous Professor. Yes.
But why is it here?
Because Drebber's the guy who took it in the first place.
This conclusively confirms my suspicions.
Wear the hat.
The man responsible for stealing the Professor from Madame Tuspel's and returning it sans tête earlier today was none other than Enoch Drebber.
This is incredible. Professor Hairbrain's case and the waxwork abduction they're inextricably linked by Enoch Drebber's workshop. The waxwork head has been entered into the court record.
Well, it appears our logical pleasure cruise has come to an end, my dear fellows.
I'm gonna examine the evidence. Oh, that's right, I still haven't looked at these 3 pieces of evidence. Let's do that. The thickness of the glass. Yes. This piece of glass is almost as thick as it is wide.
Yes, I've never seen anything like it.
If you were to compare it to a human, only Mr. Sholmes has such thick skin.
There's really no need for such a comparison, Mr. Naruhodo, as you well know.
Anyway, it can only be from the Crystal Tower, surely.
Yes, I think so too. It was probably made especially to meet the demands of that great structure.
Nothing else about it. Okay. What about the science trophy? What's this say? There's a little metal plaque here, look. Fostering burgeoning talent for the future of scientific discovery. Yeah, that's what it says.
It seems rather ironic, doesn't it?
But clearly Mr. Drebber really was a very talented scientist. Is there anything else about this trophy that I should note? Doesn't look like it. And the waxwork head. Well, there's the lock. This lock does look very strong, doesn't it? Isn't this also wax? There's definitely no way you could remove the mask yourself if it was put on you.
What a terrible way to treat someone, even a convicted criminal.
I know, it's starting to make me livid, actually.
Mr. Naruhodo, please.
I mean, just think about it. Imagine if you had an itch on your cheek all of a sudden. You'd be utterly helpless.
Well, yes, that's true. But I'm not sure that warrants quite so much anger.
Oh, right. Sorry. Yeah, if we want to wear this, we need to find a way to undo this lock first. But there's just that, and... okay. Okay, I don't think there's anything else we can do here. Alright, let's keep going.
Well, it appears our logical pleasure cruise has come to an end, my dear fellows. All that remains is, yes, to speak with the architect of this adventure.
The architect?
You mean Mr. Drebber?
As it seems quite impossible that he escaped via one of the skylights.
Don't forget this man killed 5 people. Basically fire, yep.
Obviously, the man must still be here in the room.
What?
And his location should be abundantly clear. If you simply reflect on the journey we've made together during this deduction.
Enoch Drebber is right here, somewhere in this room?
So, Mr. Naruhodo, will you do the honors?
Yes, of course. Mr. Drebber's hiding place must be the... the safe! Look at all that mess in front of the safe.
Yes, plans and accounting ledgers.
Almost as if somebody was in a hurry to empty the contents of the safe, in fact.
Take that!
He's in the safe. Yep. Yeah, but how would he have air? How would he get out? Before we gained access to this back room, we heard noises from in here. This is actually incredibly dangerous, and he would almost definitely die if he did this. Before we gained access to this back room, we heard noises from in here. We hear the thumping. Which tells us that the engineer was still in the building at that point in time. He was, in fact, searching for the combination to his safe. And pressed for time, made no attempt to right the furniture that he overturned in the process. How did he knock this over? How did he not knock this over, I mean? From which we can deduce that his search for the combination happened very recently indeed. In summary, Mr. Enoch Drebber, because you can't open that thing from the inside, is at this very moment inside the safe. Thus concludes Sherlock Holmes' great deduction of this topsy-turvy puzzle. Inside the safe. He was also a magician, so I imagine he probably had some idea. Honestly, probably. But I'm still baffled by what that is. Deduction complete. Elementary. So, Mr. Naruhodo, I think perhaps it's time we ended this game of hide-and-seek, don't you? By opening the safe, you mean? What else? Let's see. The combination was 1...
432582.
Yes, Dog did do a very good job here. I knew that! Alright then, here goes. There he is. You found me. Okay, what? 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 Right then, sir. Mr. Enoch Drebber, I presume. Get back, he's wearing an infinity gauntlet. Yep. I'm more worried about the bomb on the floor. Correct. Well, until somebody pays credits to switch the voice, then I guess he's engineer now. You better start talking. You tricked Professor Hairbrain with that bogus machine you built.
And you shall have to explain the theft of the waxwork from Madame Tuspel's as well.
Whilst I would be delighted to answer your many questions. Personally, I would advise you deactivate my little parcel first.
Deactivate? Your parcel?
The bomb! I refer, of course, to the time bomb. I left it in a most prominent position.
Huh?
Ha 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 ha! I see. Stunned silence. You're all gearing up to die with me, then?
No! Mr. Sholmes, with only 7 seconds to spare!
That was too close for comfort. I've got one foot in the grave already. Are you trying to help us get a killer or get us killed?
Mr. Sholmes' deductions can be completely life-altering, can't they?
Well, my dear fellows, that was a close shave. The resemblance to an anti-gravity device is really quite startling, I must say.
Anti-gravity devices don't exist!
I wouldn't push it, Mr. Sholmes. What on earth happened in here? You found me, haven't you? No need to screw me down any further. Everything in here is precisely what it seems. Yeah, well, we'll be giving it a thorough going of it, don't you worry, Drebber. What fails to click with me is how you were able to locate my workshop. That I was not expecting. When I heard whistling from the other room, I knew it was time to bolt. I mean, they're all getting mad at Sholmes, but like there was clearly a bomb, and y'all just didn't give it a second thought. Yep.
Whistling? Ah, that would have been me. Oh! For some reason, I woke in fine fettle today.
No words, just tightly squeezed chips. Clearly, I must have a screw loose, though, as I couldn't remember the combination for the safe. And another one loose, as I couldn't remember on which piece of furniture I'd written it down.
We also found a rope over by the wall.
Yes, I had hoped to exit through the skylight, but sadly the rope was too short. So, I then set about searching for the combination code to open the safe.
And burning the incriminating blueprints, don't forget. Regrettably, though, you failed to retrieve the head from the balloon among the rafters.
And after that, you hid yourself inside the safe? Having first set this parcel ticking. Well, I had no intention of being nailed by the police. Time bomb. Got a death wish, have you? Hiding right beside a ticking time bomb. Ticking time bomb. Please, why do you suppose I chose to hide? Why do you suppose I chose? Please, why do you suppose I chose to hide inside the safe? Please don't make me transition between Gregson and Drebber again anytime soon. It's no ordinary safe. It's specially designed. A dynamite explosion wouldn't leave a scratch on it. But how are you supposed to open it from the inside?
So, in fact, the safe was the only safe place.
Precisely.
But once you'd climbed inside, you wouldn't have been able to get out again.
I invite you to look more closely. The safe is fitted with a handle on the inside to allow the door to be unlocked from within.
Ah, so it is.
I'd always intended to blow this place to smithers in any case. I just wasn't expecting uninvited guests to come along and screw up my plans. Do you mean to say you were planning to blow us all up? Nah. That was unforeseen.
What do you mean?
Most people run, you see, when they see a ticking time bomb at their feet. I calculated the time required for retreat to a safe distance and set the device accordingly. But your seemingly endless discourse in here threw a spanner in the works. This look.
Is something wrong, Gregson? Do I have something on my face, besides the usual eyes, ears, nose, and mouth?
I think we have a fairly good idea of what's been going on here now. But what about the two incidents you've evidently been involved in recently? Professor Harebrain's instantaneous kinesis experiment at the Great Exhibition, and the waxwork model you stole, which this head belongs to. That's no ordinary head, you know. That's the head of the professor. Clad in a mask with a lock so strong, I'm unable to open it safely to reveal the killer's identity. I've been considering carrying it around as protection. Is that...
That's enough! What's going on here, Gregson?
Oh, okay, protection, after all.
It's enough! What's going on here, Gregson? I'm sure you're aware that I have sole jurisdiction to investigate here.
Yeah. Yes, well... Dr. Scythe again, so the forensic investigation team are here.
And you know full well this engineer is a key witness. Why are you allowing this lawyer access to him? If Lord Strongheart knew of this, you'd be finished. You lot, leave at once!
My dear madam, there's no need for such a threatening tone, I assure you. After all, that's no way to greet an old acquaintance, is it, Dr. Scythe?
Hello, Sholmes.
Mr. Sholmes knows Dr. Scythe? If it's protecting the machine next door that's causing such a sour expression on your face, you are quite misguided. It's really nothing more than a shell.
Get out!
But of course, we'll show ourselves the door. I see you haven't softened at all. Yes, we did indeed find a robot. A Texan robot, apparently. But of course, we'll show ourselves the door. I see you haven't softened at all. Mr. Naruhodo. Yes? It would appear that our delightfully entertaining investigations have run their course for today.
But Mr. Sholmes...
Let us leave this place in the doctor's capable hands.
I said get out! Now! All of you! Your presence here is not required either, Gregson.
Understood. But I'll just say one thing before I head off. If it wasn't for this lawyer and his companions, we'd never have found this place, and the whole workshop would have been blown to bits. There was a time bomb sitting here that this lot disarmed. Inspector. That's him. Yeah. Something give you a chuckle, has it, Drebber? So sorry. Didn't mean to offend. You're quite right, of course. You did disarm the time bomb, didn't you? Yes, you did disarm that one.
What are you...
There's another one.
That one? You mean...
Oh, there was one on the... Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Well, those guys are dead. Also, thank you, Heck. It was an hour later that we heard the news of the enormous explosion that ripped through the experimentation stage of the Great Exhibition. Professor Hairbrain's invention and all its secrets were blown away forever. To be continued. Well, we're a couple hours over time now, so even accounting for my late start. As I said, I was aiming to finish this section, but this section ran a very long time. There. No more France. The stage has been blown to bits. No more France. This guy wanted to blow up France. He did not blow up France, but he blew up the stage. Save complete. Well, that's it. Like I say, I have some work to get done today. So, hopefully, Monday or Tuesday, I'll be able to free this up so that Perry can get on with Phasmophobia. And I will see you here next week, same time, same place for likely the conclusion to this case. And join the Discord if you haven't. Smash that follow button. Strike it, I should say, and subscribe too. Yes, there was a dog. There was in fact a dog. Must be a big bomb to kill all of France. Yep. It was a pretty big workshop. And yeah, join the Discord. As you know, you can join the Discord. Here's the link here for events, free games, votes on what's streamed on this channel, all sorts of great stuff. So come join. Early announcements for any changes of schedule as well, of which you know there are fairly many with me. Anyway, I'm going to check to see, because I saw another member, another big name, quote unquote, from that Discord having started streaming. Oh, never mind. They finished like an hour and a half ago. Darn it. Okay, so I can't raid them. Can't raid Theoretically Moss. Let's see if there's anyone else. Damn it. Nobody I can see here. I guess we'll just end it off there then. All right. Oh, thank you, Fire. And I will see you next time. Till then, comrades, thanks for watching.